Do we have their predictions?
Oh, yeah, I got them right here. Welcome back into the show, everybody. Seth Hagen here, alongside Hunter Price, as always, and our friend Aaron Daniel from WJOX. We're going over the SEC Media's predictions for the 2017 season. We're kind of backtrack up in last week where we obviously gave our very first predictions, our way too early predictions, and now we're just going to kind of compare and contrast. So
that's what we like to call in the business the Scarborough predictions.
The Scarborough predictions, yes.
That made no sense. Yeah.
So in the Western Division, obviously Alabama was picked to start at the number one spot. They'll probably be number one when the AP poll comes out the first week of August. So guys, I know that you guys both had Alabama there at the top. I had Auburn at the top. I think it was pretty much consensus throughout media days that it's going to come down to the Iron Bowl. If there's any team out there that can challenge Alabama, it is Auburn.
I think LSU still has the opportunity. We can't forget about them, even though I do think they're kind of teetering. But right now, I don't see how you don't put Alabama one, just based off of just track record, and they've proven it. They've earned it. And to be honest with you, every Auburn fan in the state right now hates you for picking Auburn one. Nobody wants Auburn number one.
Auburn fans got to get over that. Like you got to learn to embrace expectations.
You got to quit being such a daggum jerk and just making stupid picks.
To be fair.
Okay.
Well, hold on. Didn't Herb Street get 2013 right? We forget about that.
That's what I'm saying, man.
He picked Auburn first. A lot of people were up in arms about it, and it ended up coming true.
No, I truly believe Auburn's going to have a great team, and it probably will come down to the Iron Bowl.
But you know that a lone person's prediction cannot jinx them into a horrible season.
To be fair, he was one of 13, so he's not alone.
That's what I'm saying, man. There's 13. There were 13 first-place votes for Auburn, more than anybody else.
I would say whoever put Arkansas down needs a bit of a head check.
Yeah,
that'd be the one.
Right.
By the way, I want to correct myself. I meant to say Schlaball, but we had Scarborough on the mind off air.
Right.
Schlaball is the way to directions. I look at this. I don't think there's any question that we feel like Alabama, Auburn, LSU 1, 2, 3 in some order at the end of the day.
It's just where do those bottom four?
It's the bottom four where they shake out. I originally had, and I'm probably going to kick myself. I actually had Arkansas down at 6, as much as I do believe in them. I had them at 6 when I made my predictions. I had A&M at 4.
I had them at 5. So
but A&M at 4.
I probably should have switched it with Mississippi State.
You should have.
Probably gonna kick myself again. Though, like I said, that bottom four. Yeah, thank you. That bottom four can go in any which direction it darn well chooses. I think it could still hold out was what I got. But in all likelihood, I think Mississippi State is probably the 4th best team in that division. I think Arkansas could be 5th. It just depends. It really is just all about can Arkansas actually get the running game going? Can Allen be consistent through the air? Because they're going to have to rely on him a little bit more with, as we were talking about off-air, Riley Williams no longer being there. I think Arkansas can have a fine season, maybe finish better than what I had them, but we'll have to see. I'm really interested, though, to see what y'all have in the East here.
Well, when I look at Arkansas, though, real quick, I fully expect we just talked about him. What's his name? Quarterback. Austin Allen, yeah. I fully expect him just to do exactly what he did last year. I think he is a fantastic pro-type quarterback.
Yeah.
The offensive line is going to be more improved. When it comes to running back, yeah, they lose Riley Williams, but it's Arkansas, and they just have another guy just step in. I'm not worried about the running back. I think Arkansas is going to be an improved team because you're switching from that 4-3 to that 3-4 defense. And you heard Brett Bielema talking about how that 4-3 they were in, they struggled with it so much. And being in that 3-4 just kind of puts their guys already in position to play D against these certain teams. I really think Arkansas and Mississippi State are just a notch above A&M and Ole Miss this year. I still just don't want to say that there's a group of 4 at the bottom. I feel like there's a group of 2, and then there's A&M and Ole Miss by themselves.
I hear what you're saying, but as far as A&M and Ole Miss, out of those 4, they are easily the most talented of the 4. Would you not agree with that? I mean, they have been bringing in the numbers as far as recruiting-wise. Now, Ole Miss had a bad year last year, but up until that point –
the numbers have also been leaving when it comes to transfers. And you look at all the guys that have transferred out of A&M and Ole Miss. You look at all the issues.
Out of Ole Miss? Now, A&M, a couple quarterbacks.
I think Ole Miss had a couple of guys, but it's the culture that's going. It's the culture at those two programs right now. That's the issue.
I will
It's
say
not about talent. It's all about culture. And when you have a barbershop in your locker room, I'm sorry, you have no shot of winning an SEC championship.
I will say this, if I remember correctly, Chavis is still on the A&M staff.
Yes, he is.
That is the main. I'll say it probably was going through my head was the Chavis factor because
And
he'll
some
make
of
any
them can
defense.
he can put an offense out
I
there.
know they lost Garrett off the line. I know they lost some talent. Chavis is still defensive coordinator, and he will make any defense better. And he's only this will only be his second year in the system, third year.
Third year. So,
he better get him. He better do it this year. But I think we've seen he can at Tennessee and LSU, so I don't think it's an issue of can he do it. It's just will he do it.
I just think they're soft in the trenches, and I think the same for Ole Miss. I think they're just two teams that are soft in the trenches, and it comes down to the culture. I just don't see it. But when we move to the East, I know we disagreed a lot here too.
Yeah, it was a decent amount of disagreement, especially at the top and at the bottom specifically. Now, I think Georgia will get number one in the East. The media agrees with me.
I certainly agree.
And
I disagree.
The way I see Florida is you've got, we were looking it up yesterday, they have 4 more defensive starters left over from the Muschamp years. After this year, they're gone too. So you've got this last year, and then over here, you're pretty much relying on a Felipe Franks, Jordan Scarlett. You do have Martez Ivey, who was predicted to be a first-team offensive player on that offensive line, and you do have Callaway, of course. So they're good, but I just think Georgia is better. I think Georgia's defense will take a big step forward, but the offense really depends on Eason.
Well, I mean, the offense, Eason, you got 2 of the best running backs in the entire, not just the SEC, but the entire country to go with Chubb and Michelle. As much as they probably would have liked to have gotten Chubb's production last season, they're lucky to have him back after the injury problems. We'll see if he can hold up this year. That's going to be the key for Georgia winning. Can you go down into Jacksonville and can you win? Because I know people in Georgia have complained about that for years. It's basically a glorified home game in that sense for Florida, even if it is split. I've got Georgia 1, Florida 2, Carolina 3. I think all 3 of us agree.
We did.
Carolina
we
is
did.
due.
And
Not just this year. They are set up for the next 2 or 3 years to have solid campaigns, if not win the East at least in one of those with Jake Bentley at quarterback. From there, I got Kentucky 4, Vanderbilt 5, Tennessee 6. I just don't see it.
I agree with that.
Tennessee, I don't see a snowball's chance in hell at this point of what they can possibly do.
Yeah, their culture is it's not very good either.
The mentality there, I was in the radio internet room asking questions I asked one Tennessee player because I just got sick of hearing all the positive talk.
Yeah.
And I said, do you not feel some sort of how high is the level of disappointment from not doing what you set out to do last year, which was clearly get to Atlanta? And he finally had to admit, there was some disappointment there. We'd be lying if we didn't say otherwise. But just this nature of positive thinking, if you're not backing it up, you've got to be real about what's going on here. And it's not anything. Look, you had a great season 2015 that nobody expected. Mm-hmm. You should have gotten 10 wins last year. You should have gotten You should have gotten to Atlanta last year, and you blew it. There's no other way to look back at it. And so I think they need. Don't just come out there and give us this facade of we're happy and chipper with what we've been doing. Yeah. This is why I put you 6 because I don't. Butch Jones got Brian Kelly's scrappings at Cincinnati. Never did anything with them, and I don't think it changes here either.
That's true.
And then Missouri 7.
I had Tennessee 4th below South Carolina. When it's all said and done, they may well float below that. It's interesting. The media very close between Tennessee at 3, South Carolina at 4, and Kentucky at 5. I mean, we're talking about less than 100 votes, and between South Carolina and Kentucky, less than 30 votes separating them.
I'm torn between South Carolina and Kentucky at 3. I had South Carolina at 3, we agreed, but a part of me wants to put Kentucky at 3.
A little bit, but I believe in South Carolina's defense more and their quarterback.
I kind of do too, but I really like what Kentucky's shown and bringing back. I like the presence Kentucky had at SEC Media Days. I got Florida at 1. When it comes down to it, it comes down to your O-line, your D-line. That's where Florida's better. Jacob Eason can throw a rock, but who's he throwing the ball to? They placing a lot of guys on the offensive line for Georgia. They bring back their top 6 tacklers. Defense, Georgia's gonna be improved. I still think they're a year away though. Florida, McElwain just seems to do a good job of not necessarily having the most talented guy, but not putting him in position to make mistakes and lose games. And just when he has the talent, he uses it. When he doesn't, he just finds ways just to get it done enough. And this is one of those years that Florida's going to have just enough to get it done, I think. Otherwise, if it's not Florida, I actually think you might have a surprise in Kentucky or South Carolina, maybe possibly winning that thing as a surprise pick, to be completely honest.
All right. Well, let's give before we get done. Let's go ahead and give our predictions for who's going to meet in Atlanta and who's going to come out on top. I know I've got Auburn and Georgia rematching.
We got 1 minute, man. You're giving Richard a heart attack.
I say Auburn, Georgia, 3 weeks. They're gonna have that rematch. It's gonna be awesome. But Auburn's gonna come out on top. The quarterback is gonna be the difference.
You think Alabama, Florida part 4? Was it be now? Yeah.
No, I got Alabama.
It would be
1.
part 3.
No.
It would be Alabama's 4th.
Slow down. I got Alabama ranked number 1 right now. But at the same time, if Auburn goes into the Iron Bowl undefeated or with 1 loss, Auburn wins that game and Auburn will go to the SEC championship. Yep. And I could see an Auburn Georgia rematch but until Auburn proves it to me, I'm taking Alabama 1.
Okay. That's fine.
I think we see Alabama, Georgia, and I hope to get a similar classic to what we did in 2012. That would be remarkable and a phenomenal
that would be good.
matchup.
Yeah. Right. Another student versus the master.
The music's coming on, folks. Use the game. Don't let the game use you. We'll see you next week. Aaron Daniels, Jocks Radio, Jocks Preps. We'll get it in next time. I'm sorry.
Later, y'all.
Oh my gosh, it is.
There's just no countdown. It's so difficult. Okay.
You're supposed to